Hello, my name's Tina Coulter. I am have been with Lifeway for about 4.5 years, and this is our Wednesday Spotlight success story. And I have the pleasure of interviewing a dear friend I can call a friend now, and we met horseback riding. And before that, we didn't really know each other at all. And her name's Kaitlyn. So this is Kaitlyn Lamont, and she's going to share with you tonight. Um, about her struggles. You know, we always think, as a majority of people we come across when we find out about LifeWave, they're always looking for, sharing it. And we just never think that maybe we need to also pay attention to the younger generation. Being a young mom, an awesome mom, as well as a beautiful entrepreneur. But I don't think there is an age that we can put on for when people are struggling. So when I met Kaitlyn, I didn't know she was. You know, she may have felt it, but I didn't see it. She put on a beautiful face and she smiled through it. But tonight you get to hear her determination of that she wasn't gonna just settle for anything, and she really was being so proactive with her health. So if you guys have any questions for Kaitlyn, put them in the chat and we'll answer them after she shared her beautiful story with us. And I just want to also say we don't treat, cure, diagnose. This is a story. This is the impact that Kaitlyn feels is has happened for her with LifeWave and her process for her health. And so we're here with symptoms only, and it's pretty amazing what happens when our body can wake up and repair and regenerate like it's meant to be with just some extra tools and support. And so, Kaitlyn, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate that you said yes to this. I think your story is really impactful, and I know you're very passionate to help others in this similar situation, among others. They don't have to, completely relate to you because you were introduced to this how long ago now?
October. So fuzzy math, 6 months quickly. But October, the fall. Yeah.
And tell, what were you like before Lifeway? What was going on for you? What were some steps that you were taking? Because you were proactive with your health, you were doing some things, but tell us where you were and what you were doing to move towards that until then the next step was Lifewave. But just give a little background.
Yeah, for sure. Um, my story, honestly, I feel like I need to go back even 3 years. I promise it won't be super long and I'll be very respectful of everyone's time. But my story, honestly, I would say starts 3 years ago. One thing I wanted to say too, just quickly, is while this is very uncomfortable for me to be vulnerable and talk about, I do push myself to do that because I do agree that mental health is such a big thing that we need to be more open to talk about. Of course, we have our physical health concerns too, but mental health is just as important. So I feel like that's why I'm being brave here today and sharing my story in case anyone else has struggled with mental health in the past. But yeah, so 3 years ago, I had my second child, my lovely daughter. And honestly, I had her, and it was just, if anyone's a second time mom, you kind of just jump in as a super mom right away because you're like, I got this, I know how to do it. And I was filled with so much just love for this mini me, literally. And I just had jumped in 100% and just loved her to bits. And then all of a sudden, 4 months in, it was like a light switch happened for me. And I went from like bursting with love when I looked at her to complete opposite. Um, just sad every day, pushing away love, pushing away my loved ones, pushing away my kids, like my spouse, hiding it all, just keeping it very inward, which I think a lot of people do because it's not really promoted that we should talk about it necessarily, especially when you're a mom. You always want to, put your best foot forward. And yeah, and I honestly hid how bad it was for quite, like, my husband didn't even know, my parents didn't know, like I just hid it and hid it, kept it inside, lived every day, just I cried every day, to be honest, like for, and I didn't know what was happening. Like it was such a change, and nothing I had ever felt with having my first child. So, anyways, you just kind of push through as you do as a parent. Many parents do, and I did eventually have the strength to somewhat talk about it to certain people in my very small circle. And they encouraged me to, of course, just reach out for help, professional help, and to kind of go down that avenue. And unfortunately, there just was no solutions for me. I was very much labeled a young, tired mom. I've heard that a lot over 3 years, and I really was begging people to hear me that like I'm a second time mom. I know what tired mom's like, and this is not it. This is something different. And so it was very easy to be just labeled, oh, you're a young tired mom. You have young kids. This is how it is. And yeah, I just didn't get any help that I was really needing at the time, even though I wasn't very open to the help. I'll admit it, I didn't get pushed as I needed to get that help. And so I just kept pushing through as you do. And then the following winter, I ended up on top of all that mentally, I ended up with a really bad back injury. And when I say bad back injury, it was like agonizing pain to the point that I couldn't get in or out of bed. And so I literally had a crib mattress on my floor because that's the only way I could sleep with like certain pillows. And when I say agonizing, like the level of agonizing was as if I was birthing my child with no epidural. Let's just put that out there. And stuff. So it was really bad. And we definitely went through certain avenues trying to figure out what it was. Of course, we ended up figuring out what it was, and I just immediately was put on medications. It was just medications after medications. So then I'm pushing through daily with this darkness in my head, while also now just struggling with every day, just struggling I couldn't even bend down in my kitchen to my bottom drawer to get like a plate out. Like if my husband was home, I'd be like, can you like open this drawer that's on the bottom and pick it up? Because I couldn't bend over even. But meanwhile, I had a 1 year old and other kids. So I was popping pills. It was just that doing anything I could to get through as you have to, right? Because your kids are still needing you, your family's still needing you, life still needs to continue. Um, and unfortunately, I was then even put on a medication that was actually meant to numb the brain receptors to not feel anything because it was so bad. They basically wanted to just numb it out that I wouldn't notice how bad it was. And I really do believe that when you numb one thing, it numbs everything. So I was then basically left as a shell of a person, completely numbed out, felt no joy, no laughter, like just numbed. I felt like a shell is kind of how I explained. Um, and this was not a short injury by any means. It was a couple years going through, and of course, my physical health started going downhill as well too. So I basically ended up with no immune system. I would get a common cold, and I'd be sick for like 3 weeks. As soon as I got the simplest cold that my kids would get better, within 24 hours, I was out for weeks and weeks. Like my body just couldn't bounce back ever. And I was sick every single month. So it was basically 2 to 3 weeks every single month. I was sick with a common cold as well. So again, you're in a horrible place mentally. And when I say dark, like I'll let your minds wander, like dark thinking that there's a better place where you shouldn't be, if that makes sense. Your family is better off without you, like dark, dark, right? And then obviously going through the agony, popping pills, no physical health. It was just bad. I remember this was June at the time, and I remember saying, I feel like I'm 5% of myself. Like that's what I was telling my family. Like I seriously feel like I'm 5%. I'm quite in tune to my body. And I was like, this is literally 5% of what I normally am. And again, just no help from the professionals. I was begging. And I was really looking at them and being like, look at my face. Like, this isn't normal. Like, I seriously look like I'm dying. Like, this is crazy. And again, you're a young, tired mom. You got young kids. Like, I get it's hard. This is just your new normal, is what I was told. I did actually go ahead and try going to a naturopath. So I started being a bit of an advocate for myself, tried a different route. She basically could not believe how depleted I was. Was just like, how are you functioning? You're so depleted. And I was like, I'm not functioning, basically. And she did get me on a lot of minerals and supplements, and it did help, I would say, like if I had to throw a number out there, like maybe like 60% with the physical health, but it wasn't where I knew like my true self was. And I was like, there has to be better. Like, really? Like, I am 34. I kept saying I'm the healthiest unhealthy person there is in this world. Like, I'm super healthy. I eat really well. Like, I run after my kids all day. Like, I'm fit, all that, but just so unhealthy. Um, so yeah, it just got to a point that it basically plateaued with her. She did say she felt there was a chemical imbalance in my brain and she couldn't figure it out, which when you have felt like there's no hope for so long, to hear that just sounds like there's no hope. Like this is just how you are from now on, right? And sorry, that makes me emotional.
Mm.
Um, But yeah, so then fast forward, I was literally in like years down the road now. This was just last summer. I was in the worst place possibly. Like if you would have asked me, is this a rock bottom you'd ever see? I would have said, oh no, like there's no such thing until you experience it. And then I met Tina on a trail ride just because of a mutual friend, you know, put a fake face on, push through and stuff, and totally just loved Tina immediately and was just like, you're an amazing person, and I'm so grateful that you shared LifeWave because there was a sticker on your horse. And I was like, why is there a sticker on your horse's head? Basically, is I think what I said. And I'm so grateful that you were brave and shared it with me versus not, because I would be in the same place. I wouldn't have been on the other side if you hadn't shared it with me, right? So I'm so grateful for that. And while I was in a dark place and so skeptical and just like, okay, all right, Tina, it just sat with me for a while, and I was very close to starting other medications to help with my mood, which I was n not overly a fan of for myself, because one thing the naturopath did do is she got me off all the medications. So to just go right back on another one, just wasn't something in line with what I want to do. And so anyways, I was like, you know what? I will try it because I'm so desperate that I can't keep doing this. When my first order arrived, I was going through a 14-day um, period of sadness, we'll say. But 14 days where you can't wipe your kitchen counter. And if anyone knows me, I'm super motivated. I get tons done in a day. I'm not that person. So for me to not be able to wipe a kitchen counter, it just shows you how dark it was. Um, Anyways, fast forward, it was absolutely amazing. It blew my mind. I did not go into this at all thinking this was going to transform my life like it has. Not only did it balance my brain and help with my mental health, but after a mere 2.5 weeks, I was out of the darkness. And, it doesn't make you a robot. You still feel feelings, but it makes you logical when you're thinking about any sadness, and it doesn't pull you into that darkness where you can't get out. And since then, I haven't had the sadness that I had. And now we're 6 months later. It's truly amazing. And then, of course, so much follows with your physical health too, which was just amazing. Like, fast forward now, I have zero agony, we'll say, zero agony. Yeah, I just live my life and don't have to worry about any of that. I have an amazing immune system. My kids will get sick and I don't, which is truly amazing. Yeah, I have like vibrancy in myself again. I have a light in me, you can say. I honestly like have passions and motivations and goals again instead of just being a numb shell. And I really do say like it rewinded 6 years for me because I've been a mom for 6 years. So it rewinded 6 years for me, and I'm the true version that I knew I still was. It was still in there, and I'm like the best mom now, like all the love and laughter and like loving the little sweet moments that you have with a 3-year-old because you know it is temporary as they are gonna get older, and with my 6-year-old as well too. And yeah, we're in an amazing place. And after going through all of that, I just was like, I have to share this because I felt like there was no hope, and so many people are told this is your new normal. This is the way it is, and I just was like, oh my gosh, it's not. There's options if you're open to it, and so I definitely have jumped in and started paying it forward just because I want people to know it's not the new normal. There's things out there you can do and you can be on the other side. And I can tell you, once you're on the other side, you want to shout it from the rooftop because you want everyone to feel better.
And you are quite an advocate for your health, Kaitlyn. I remember you reached out to me and you just said, I just want to kind of learn a little bit more. You were always searching. And so I think that's a beautiful uniqueness that you had is you were just not going to settle for it. You were like screaming in silence, but you were looking for something. So I love that, I mean, how many people are skeptical? It is
Mhm.
frequency medicine, I love to call it, is here. It's been deep researched, but you know, as you say that, there's so many subtle things where, you didn't put the technology on and all of a sudden there was this trusting in the process.
Hmm.
Weeks in, you're like, wait a second. And then again, you're like, wait a second, I didn't get sick as much as I did. And so, are you finding now, like, we're doing fuzzy math because I didn't count, try and figure it out either. But let's just say within 6 months that it's getting better. There's still better and better, and there's deeper, deeper repair. And every time or for the length of time that you're wearing the patches, the better it gets.
Oh, for sure. And like, you always kind of have your favorites that you'll never go without, right? And for different reasons too. Like literally looking over my dresser, Ice Wave, I will never be without because it's in my first aid kit. Like I'm talking about that story, but I have so many other testimonials of like how it saved me from a brain injury and all these things too. And I can tell you, like, when you need it, you don't want to wait for the order to come. You want to just grab it and have the support. And that's how I kind of explain it is like, as I continue to use it, it's still continuing to support me. Once you feel better, you don't want to go back. And so to know that your body is there constantly just like activated and working as it should instead of failing you, because I felt like my body was failing me. It's now working with me and it's supporting me through things, whether it's common colds or injuries in the day or whatever. But I'm picking things up, and like I picked up a propane tank for my barbecue and I said to my husband, and I'm like, this feels light. Like they didn't fill it all the way. And he was like, like it's capped, it's filled. And I'm like, I think I'm just really strong now. Like it's funny kind of to see you go through that transformation for sure. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, and I have now a better understanding. I mean, we get to play and work together and do all of that now because you're right. You do shout it from the rooftops and you really just stepped in and you just said, because you were at first, you were just, it was for you. You were like,
Mhm.
it's for you. You're just moving forward with that. You were looking at different avenues of just, you even asked me about equine therapy, what would that look like? Can I do that? And so I saw that you were reaching and searching, but
Mhm.
as soon as you put the patches on, something shifted for you where you were just like, I need to let people know about this. And
Mhm.
what I do notice is because people saw you the way that you were really low, and the people that you're putting in front of me to give more information and educate them, that's all we do. They're like, yeah, this is for real. I know Kaitlyn, she was not like this in a short amount of time. This is amazing. I need to listen and get educated to make up my mind on this. So you're just leading with your heart. That I do know. And
Mhm.
you're okay if somebody says no, aren't you? You just give
Yeah.
information.
It's so much about timing. I really believe it's so much about timing, and everyone has their own journey. And I so wish I found this 2.5 years ago. Like, oh my gosh, that could have saved me a lot. But I really do believe it's about timing, and when it does come into your life, or when you do accept it, is when it's right for you. And the amazing thing that I've already seen in my short time is sometimes people say no, and then they just keep watching you, and then they come around on their own terms, and now they're like, oh my gosh, I want that. Like, I want to try it. I want to see what you're going through. Yeah, and yeah, it's timing. It really is. It's so when someone says no, it's just like, yeah, all good. Like, you know if you want to start feeling better, let me know, kind of thing too. Because it is hard when depending what your symptoms are, it's hard you want to feel better, but it's hard to accept and make the step to feeling better sometimes. And I can definitely say that from experience. So I don't know if I would have been in a mental place to have even accepted it earlier on, right? So it's interesting. Everyone just has their own journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for loving people into LifeWave and just leading with your story. And then really, I know you care about every single person that you introduce us to. I love watching you just take care of those people and show them what they need and send them to the right resources. It's beautiful. To be able to play around with you that way. And I want to make sure I've got a couple more minutes. What are your, because um, John's asking what patches, what are your go-tos? I know you've got one that you wear during the day that helps you be the mom you always knew you could be.
Yeah, what I started off with was the trifecta. It was X39, Eon, and Ice Wave. Um, Eon is like the one I say it's like my angel. Like it's hard to say. I'm so thankful for X39 too, but but so Eon for my mental health, like I'm so grateful because there was no way I could have continued as I did. Like I didn't think there was a life after that. Never mind such a great one. So I'm so thankful for Eon. That's the one that just the brain balancing process was just absolutely amazing and like so what obviously I needed. And I used X39 and that's what helped me with my physical health 100% was the X39. And X39 is the one that I wear every single day, my husband and I. Because there's days you forget to wear it because you're feeling great, but when you go for a bit of length of time without it, you feel like you're maybe 70% of what you can be with it, right? Without its support. So it's something we always want to have just to be our best version of ourselves. Um, those two Eon, I actually ended up wearing it during the day, where so many people wear it at night. My sleep was fine, but it makes me such a better mom. Like initially, when I was still in my initial transformation, I should say, um, my kids would be screaming in front of me, and I would just be calm as a cucumber, and then the screaming would stop, and I'd say like, how can I help? Right? Where I was so redlined before, I'd be screaming back at them. I hate to admit, and stuff. So yeah, definitely those.
Oh, awesome. John has okay, so I hope that helped Pat for share your strategies. So Eon was really good during the day. X39 is your daily, and then
Mhm.
You use Ice Wave now as needed, but not every day, but it's in your toolbox. Is that correct?
Yeah, I never need it now. I use it for my husband's snowboarding accidents and dirt biking accidents
What?
and stuff, but I will always have it because if a fluke of something happens and I get hurt, I want it.
Yeah.
I want it
And
now. Yeah.
John is asking, what's your husband's reaction to you being saved by the patches?
That's a really good question, John. So he was very skeptical about it, and geez, I wish I could pull him in, but of course, he's so happy. He got a great wife back again. Yeah, I have so much love for him because I feel like this day and age, a lot of spouses would have left in such hard times, and he stuck through it with me, and he's just probably so thankful that we have the life we have now. He's so proud of what I'm doing and what I'm sharing and just this like new passion that has stirred in me. And I don't even come from health and wellness, so it's total change for me. And he, after seeing my transformation was just like, I want some of that. So then he started using them and now he's sharing as well too, right? It's funny how it kind of comes around the full circle. But yeah, I'm sure if you would ask him, he would just be so thankful.
Nice. And then Rachel asked, how long till you noticed a change? Was it right away?
It wasn't right away. And everyone's so different. It's really like based on your health, based on how mineralized you are. I definitely had a foot in the door being I had come from a naturopath and was on like 12 different minerals and supplements. That was like a full-time job because I had been so depleted. So I am very thankful it went in that those stages. But for me, the mental component was about 2.5 weeks when I first noticed it, but I would say it was like a solid 2 months of everyday use before I could go without Eon. And now I only use Eon when I feel like I need it because it's literally been permanent. Like this, it's amazing. And then as for my physical health, I would say again, about 2.5 weeks, started noticing things like, oh, I woke up earlier and just started doing things right away, like had the energy. I was only sick for 3 days instead of 3 weeks. But yeah, it was probably, I'd say, like a month and a half for me to say that I was doing a lot better. And then as I continued, now my immune system's just like absolutely killer. So
Well, thank you so much, Caitlin. I so appreciate you answering all those questions and sharing your story. I knew your story, but I have a better understanding of it tonight. So that's why I love the Spotlight success stories is because we dive a little bit deeper, and
mhm.
as you hear what you shared, Caitlin, thank you so much for being brave enough to be vulnerable and then brave enough to share. Because that's really what we are. We're just a messenger. So
Yeah.
if you want more information about the technology, www.miraclereadyinfo.com is where, and then go back to the person who invited you to this, and if you're watching the recording, go back to the person who shared the recording with you and let them know what questions you have or where you want to get started. So I love that you said that, you started with these patches, but your go-to daily is X39 and you add on the other ones when you prefer.
Yeah, for
Daily,
sure.
you're wearing X39. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Caitlin.
You're
It's
welcome.
with your heart and you are so full of love. I
Yeah. And thank you for everyone listening. I hope that it will help someone because that's my only hope is that my discomfort of talking about myself will help someone.
Perfect. It's going to go viral. All right. Have a good night,
Okay.
everyone.